Hey, what's up everyone? Upstart here with RyXe Gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. Now, in the previous episode, mainly focused on optimizing, doing a few milestones. Um, though I didn't do a very good job at optimizing, I did the best I could with what I had on hand. But, uh, apparently, my way of, building my factories, setting things up, probably not the best. It works at the very least. I'm not gonna say it's good. I could probably say it's good, but for lower tier tech, not for like the items like higher tier that require manufacture. Even for things that require assemblers, but for things that require only assemblers, I think it's not too bad. But for things that have like a long production line, like let's say computers or heavy modular frames, which those are manufacturers, um, manufacture items, but they require a bunch of process items like the modular frames and the reinforced, which also require another process to get to those and then to be reprocessed with other items similar to the computer. But anyways, we're getting things done at the very least. Things are automated more or less. Things are getting done and things are being produced, even if it is slow and not very efficient. We're doing the best we can. So what we're gonna be doing in this episode is oh yeah, another thing, we also unlocked the train, which we didn't get to because the episode got too long. So we're gonna try and do it, try to tinker with it a little bit in this episode. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna just go ahead and I think no, not the radio check light. We're gonna start with completing the milestone for the gas mask because I'm going by the icon as similar to this, and it probably won't take long for the pod to return, as I mentioned in the previous episode. So we're just gonna go with that. Go with 75 of this. Hopefully, I have all the materials. I more or less calculated what I needed. But I'm not very good at that. So launch the pod. She's probably gonna say something.
Gas masks and filter parts will ensure increased odds of survival in gas-based hazardous environments. FICSIT Incorporated would like to extend the friendly advice to not forget to change filters regularly.
So pretty much the filters are my lifeline in those cases. But I don't know. I've never used the filters, the gas mask. I never really cared for that. So the pot. Oh, it's gonna take way longer than I actually expected. 11 minutes. Pretty much 12 minutes. So that's that one. And this is the last one we have available. So we're just gonna put that on hand. So let's get in my vehicle over here and just explain a little bit of what I've got going on here. So since I need 3 different items, I wanted to have them all separate, and I'll go in so they can all go like into the space elevator at the same time, instead of just having them on one line going down, all of them all together, because they are 1,000 each. So that probably will take a while. So, but I didn't want it to start sending it into the space elevator without being looked into first. So what I wanted to do is just to have this more or less organized. Have this little thing here. So I have that organized a bit like that, and I didn't want to have another piece here where I have to reconnect, so I decided to just put another container at the back, and then once I have all the materials ready, like in each, I'll just connect them like that, all 3, respectively, and so on and so forth. So right now I haven't made the jetpack either, as you can see right there on the screen right hand. I still have that as the that recipe pinned there. So I'm gonna go and grab materials for that, and I'm gonna go and grab all the materials I have available in my computer scratch that. What I meant to say is I'm just gonna go grab all the computers, heavy modular frames, and motors. I most likely do have enough. Computers, I may have enough. Heavy modular frames, I'm doubting it. So yeah, I'm gonna go grab all these materials I need, and I'll be back with you all. Alright everyone, so I have the materials ready for the jetpack. I brought already my materials for the space elevator and I placed them in each of their respective containers. I had plenty of motors as I mentioned. Computers I actually did have enough. I didn't I wasn't that far off. I wasn't that lacking in computers. I still have plenty left over in their containers over there. The only issue was the heavy modular frame. I was close, but not close enough. I'm still missing 150 heavy modular frames. Yes, probably with the ones that I've been using for the milestones. I've wasted some, but I can just um, mash them out real quick before long and get that over with. So let's go over here and let's get that jetpack. Alright, so then this would be the gas mask. I've never used the gas mask or respective filters. It's gonna require coal, rubber, and fabric. And making fabric is also not hard. It's just that at this point I don't even touch biomass anymore. I don't see the point in it. But whatever. So a jetpack. We have no fuel because it uses oil-based fuel, and right now we only have this biofuel, which we've just been using up for now. So I can't exactly well, I could demonstrate it a little bit because it comes with it comes pre-fueled. The only problem is that you just run or walk as slow as usual, and I don't like that. So I guess it just depends where you're at and when it's very specific to situations. Depends if you just you're running around, walking around, and you don't have any risk of falling or anything and falling to your death or anything like that, then there's no point in having a jetpack. But if you're up on cliffs or things like that, trying to get to hard to reach places, then yeah, probably it's going to be useful. But if I'm not mistaken, I can't really remember. There is a limit to how the limit is to how do I explain it? It has a time limit of per use of a constant stream. I don't know how to say it, but you can only be using the jetpack for 10 seconds at a time or something. You can't just use it to go straight up with an infinite supply of fuel. I think you can't do that, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of remember something like that, but I could be wrong. I haven't tested it out in recent times, and I really don't remember right now. So the pod's back, so let's just throw these things in there. Yeah, issue right there. I don't have any beacons. I have 4 beacons, but I need more. So let's just smash these out. I need 25, so I'm just gonna make the 25 straight up, and they're pretty quick. So I'm not gonna have any more beacons on my person. I'm just gonna throw them in there. Oh yeah, over there.
Radar technology unlocked. The radar tower automatically charts and updates the map of your FICSIT approved designated zone in a radius dependent on its height. Initial charting takes a variable amount of time.
I still don't know how it's useful. It'll show you what's in places, it'll show you the topography of the land or the area, but it won't show any landmarks or anything of interest. So I don't see that as being very useful. I'd rather just go out and explore. So it said something about FICSIT approved area or something like that. Maybe that's why I can't go too far out into the surroundings, because it doesn't want me to do so, and it'll kill. And then apparently the companies that will actually go to the lengths of killing you if you don't obey those those rules or whatever they have for us. So anyways, we've got all the milestones done that we have available to us. So I'm gonna go and mash out those remaining 150. I think it's 153, but anyways, who's counting? Those 153 heavy modular frames, and we'll be back with completing that space elevator milestone. Alright everyone, so we finally got all the materials we needed. Here are the 1000 computers, 1000 motors, and we just completed the 1000 heavy modular frames. Didn't take very long, 15-20 minutes tops. So what we're gonna have to do is connect these. I'm just gonna do that right quick. Now let's go up here on the platform. Let's just watch. Let's get a little bit of it. So yeah, that's what 1000 computers, heavy modular frames, and motors looks like. Right up here. Ain't that beautiful? Let's look inside. I don't know why, but it seems like one goes faster than the other. Oh, so the computer first and the motors now. So this one has more in there than this one, and then more here. So let's just wait for the numbers to reach 1000, and I'll be back with you all. Alright, so these should be on the last 100. The computer should be the first one to finish, then the motors, then the heavy modular frames. There they go. Let's get over here. Okay, so that's done. It's loaded. Let's seal it. Let's push it away. So what? Is that it? It's not gonna tell me anything? Nothing of interest? Come on, Ada. So that's pretty much all that's available now. That's since it's still in early access. I don't know if it's gonna be coming out in the next update, in update number 3. Probably not. I would say it's not, but who knows? We'll see. Anyways, that's done. I can just leave that as is. Or actually, you know what? I'll remove these. I don't need these there. Technically, I don't need the space elevator anymore, but I'll just leave that. Leave that as is. Come on. Sort that out. So let's go check what we got new to unlock. I know the geothermal generator is a thing. I have some geysers over there. I don't know if I mentioned them before, but I have 2 geysers. I think it's 2. Right by the path that takes us up to where our coal is. It's like halfway down, and looking over to the right, somewhere down there. But anyways, let's check our new tier. So tier 8. Apparently, there's nothing here for now. I wonder anything new for the MAM. I don't know. Maybe supercomputers. Ah. Yes, I kind of remember that. I think I need supercomputers analyzed in the MAM here before I can unlock the geothermal, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's not available yet. So we only got what's on 7. Nuclear power. Gives us a nuclear power plant, uranium cell, electromagnetic control rod. That was the other rod I was talking about, not the fuel rod. The nuclear fuel rod, the hazmat suit, iodine infused filter, to scan Caterium. Why would it give me to scan Caterium? Maybe I can't scan for it yet? I don't remember. And uranium, scan for uranium. So it's technically not a lot, though it is a lot of heavy modular frames at the moment because I don't have any. So that's gonna be a problem, slight problem, or either I wait for my manufacturers to pump these out, or I manually do these. These are not an issue. I can get those right now and put those in there, no problem. Let's check the other one. The Bayer process. There's the aluminum. Mark 3s. miners Mark 3s, conveyor belts Mark 5s, conveyor lifts Mark 5s, aluminum ingot, alclad, I think it's called, alclad aluminum sheet, the heat sinks, rapid control unit, turbo motors, battery, scan for raw quartz, and scan for bauxite. So I would think, as I don't plan on using nuclear power, I don't plan on doing this one first, though I probably would do it or just get this just so I can demonstrate the nuclear uh, power plant and how it functions. So I'd probably just make a rod on my own instead of looking for a factory. Get some uranium that there's a bunch of little like outcroppings here and there, which I know where two of them are. One's somewhere down in that direction near the coast, and one is near one of my oil pumps. Well, just right now I think it's just a deposit, but it's somewhere down over there. The Bayer process is the most important one right now. We need to make things faster. So I'm probably gonna have that one. Go for that one next. Like I mentioned, the geothermal wasn't on there. That's because I kind of remembered we need to analyze supercomputers before we can unlock the geothermal generators, which aren't really that interesting. I think they produce like 250 energy and they're pretty much free, aside from the fact that you gotta construct them, right? Which takes, I think, supercomputers, heavy modular frames. I don't know what else they would need, but I don't think they use regular computers. So I need to make 10 supercomputers. I don't think it should be that hard, actually. You know what? I should have just looked at the recipe right there. Come on, would you mind giving me the recipe? It doesn't want to give it to me anymore. Is it here? There it is. So 2 computers, 2 AI limiters, 3 high-speed connectors, and 21 plastic. I could pretty much do that right now if I really wanted to. So I probably should. So I'm just gonna grab those materials first, just so I can know what I usually do, just so I can know what I'm gonna need. Just add to the list here, right click, and then add to the list. I'm gonna need 10. I don't know if I'm gonna need more, but I pretty much have all that on hand. I just gotta fetch it pretty much and then make those myself. So I'm gonna grab those materials and I'll be right back. Right, I'm back and we have all the materials. So we're gonna mash out these 10 supercomputers and then we're just gonna throw them into the MAM. Alright, that wasn't very long. So we're just gonna throw those in there. Supercomputer, where you at? Here they are. And that's gonna take 30 minutes. Begin analysis. So that's gonna take a little while. Alright, so while I was out getting my materials, I actually checked on my heavy modular frames just to see how much I had stockpiled at this moment, and I can say that I don't have more than 50. Is the thing that is much. The heavy modular frames are producing much slower than my computers. My computers are being produced much faster. Because I was just like anyways, doesn't matter. So it's gonna take me a while before I get to that, though I want to get it soon. Why did it show this though? That's probably just a bug. Nothing of interest really. It's just passing over from the one I have selected to the one to tier 8 because I don't have anything. More than likely. So what's next? The train. Let's take a look at the parts. Okay. So the locomotive. Locomotive is used to move freight cars from station to station. Requires between 25 to 110 megawatt hours or megawatts of power to drive. Must be built on railway. Nicknamed Left by FICSIT pioneers because of its reliability. I don't know what that means, but okay. And then freight car, used to transport large quantities of resources from one place to another. Resources are loaded and unloaded at freight platforms, must be built on railways. The train station locomotives can be set to drive to and stop at the train station. You can connect power to the train station to power up the trains on the railway, as well as transport the power to other stations. Freight platform, a freight car. As freight cars stop this, they will either unload or load their goods depending on what you set it to. The freight platform snaps to railway, each other and train stations. Empty platform, an empty train platform for when you need to create some empty space. I don't know what that means. And railway, used to transport trains in a reliable and fast manner. Has a wide turn angle to make sure. Has a wide turn angle. There should be a comma, I think. So make sure to plan it properly. Plan it out properly. So I still need these steel beams. So I guess it's good that I didn't completely and totally got rid of the production line. So I still have one. No, for railways, I guess. It needs pipes. Not bad. I think I have like 2 containers or 3 that are stockpiling the pipes, so that's good. But I still need heavy modular frames to at least get one of these. But I do have enough to get set up one locomotive. Though I have one of these questions that I have is, do I have to, if I put one, will that go only in one direction, or will it go in 2 directions? To and from, or just 2? And if I want one coming this way, I'd have to have it on the other side of the, let's say, freight. If I have one of these, and then I'll have 5 of these, and then I have another locomotive at the end. Does that work? Or how does it work? I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure this out right now. So yeah, I still have that huge platform thing over there, and I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna start filling that up because that's probably the best location to have the freight right down the middle. I feel like it is. Uh, I don't know if it will. Who knows? Because I remember I used to have a freight, like a little kind of highway. I had a different name for it, but that I had somewhere right here. It was kind of floating, and it would go up, and it was just multiple lines of the most important material. Let's say in case industrial beams for building what are they called, conveyor belts, so if I run out, I won't have to keep coming back. Let's say just the most basic, but the most necessary ones. Let's say concrete in case industrial beams. So far in my case, because I don't have like a surplus of Mark 5s yet. I think it just needs the outclad. I don't know what it requires, but for the Mark 5 conveyor belt. So for now, it would just be the encased industrial beams, which will still be relevant because we still have these industrial containers which actually use those. So that would be a thing. Probably pipes. That one container, that one production line of pipes that I have left over, I could probably just have that come down as well, and it'll just be for loading our what's it called? Loading up our hub over there. So that would be one thing. Those kind of things is what you'd probably have or need on hand when you're further away from your base. So I think that would be one of the things. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a cut here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna uh, complete this ramp, hopefully, and then I'm just gonna take those four. I do have to see how big these stations are. You know what? I could probably see that right now. So a train station is just for stops, right? Let's see. I think it's like a stop for the train. Maybe that's how it power. That's how it. Oh, I think I need a train station. So that this powers up the train, and then connect railways on that, and then I'm guessing the power just follows that or whatever. I'm not sure. The freight platform, I'm guessing would be for loading materials, blah blah blah. I gotta figure out what this one is for. Freight car is straightforward. The electric locomotive is halfway straightforward. The other half is, will it go in reverse or is it just one way? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try to get as far as possible as well with my platform, but first we're gonna see how this works. Yeah, so it's kind of big, but it's not too big. So it's like, what could I say? It's like as wide, at least as wide as a manufacturer, both depth-wise and width-wise. Height-wise, it's definitely like maybe twice as big. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll see you all in a little bit. Alright everyone, so after a while of, fiddling with the train station, the freight car, the locomotive, all these parts, all its parts, I think I more or less got it to work. I actually did have to look it up on the forums and to figure out how to work this thing, because it's not really straightforward. As it sounds, just connect things and it'll work. Not really. It's not like that. So right now, I have it working on a bidirectional way. So I have two locomotives, one on each side, facing their respective directions, and I have a freight car in the middle. The way, I don't know whoever, the forum, the posters, said to get it to function this way in a bidirectional way, because technically to have it work properly, you have to have it like in a loop, like in a circle or a loop or whatnot, just have it loop around. I don't have it that way because if I were to use it, I would not use it that way. I would not have it like go round way, especially on my sky bridge kind of thing, my hub down there. I would need it bi-directional, but after testing it and getting to see how it works, I decided to not use it. I didn't think I thought it was gonna be useful. It's actually a pain in the butt, having to set it up, and then it just takes too much space. Instead I just have conveyor belts going down, but more on that later, probably in the next episode. I'm not sure. It depends how long I take at trying to explain this. So right now I have it working, going back and forth. Right now it should be leaving. There you go. I have these containers here because I was testing out how to work the freight platform with the car, having loading and unloading. So that was a pain and it was a hassle, but I got it to work. So let's go into the configuration of the freight platform first. So I have these because I've been testing the unloading and loading. So this side is for unloading and this side is for loading as it shows it here. So whichever is lit up is the one is the function the freight platform is gonna do. And the train, it works as you have to have it positioned properly. So if you have it this bi-directional way, to get it work this way, you need two trains or two locomotives, one on each side, facing their respective direction, and you have to have two train stations, one for each respective train where they come in. Right now, you know what? Let's do the loading part. Let's have that load up. And to have it load up, the freight car has to be in between um, the two locomotives and not at the front, because if you have it at the front, what I've noticed is that it doesn't actually, the trains don't work. It goes one way, but it doesn't go the other way. So you either have it in front of one of the locomotives, and whichever one it's in front of, that's the direction it's not gonna come back in or move in. So you have to have it like in the middle of the two, and that's why I have a train platform on one side and the other, and the freight platform in the middle, so that the freight car, when the two locomotives come back in to the stations, it's positioned right in the middle where it has to be, so it can take this out. So my two stacks of cement or concrete, they're gone, and they're on their way down. So that's those two stations over there. I have pretty much the same setup I have here on that side. These station names, they each have their own name. Those are just randomly. You can change them if you want to, but I just decided to leave it. I don't really care. And I have the freight platform down there. I have it to load. I don't have it to unload because I want it to bring back the stuff. So we're gonna have this back to unload. So it should unload when it comes back. So real quick, let me explain the train platform setup. So there's two tabs here. One's for the train station. Here you can change the name, and it, show a little bit of info here. And it uses electricity, but as long as the train stations use electricity, so you have to power that up. You have to connect it. The good thing about it is that as long as you just connect it to one train station, it'll just power up anything, like all the stations that are connected via the railways. So right there you see it's unloading it. You can't do it if the trains come in and they set. You can't, if you change it to unload or load, like just quickly on the fly, it's not gonna work, because the train, it has like some type of order that it goes in. So on its timetable, where's my other part over here? There's a timetable, and there's where you set up your trains. I don't know if there could be more than one on the list. Right now it just shows my one locomotive, and these are the stations. So it pretty much follows a list. So right here I have it going from one station, and then I have it going to the same one. I'll explain that in a bit. And it'll go in that specific order. So that's similar to when it comes into the station. It'll take the order that's next for the freight car as well. So if it's on, let's have it back to load. So if it comes in and then you change it, and if it comes to a complete stop and you change it, it's not gonna work. It's gonna go, continue its order and then come back. And then if you left it on load, let's say, or unload, whichever, it'll do the respective action. Of course, it won't do anything if there's nothing in here, or if it's not carrying anything, it won't do anything either. So right here, it should load. And let me go to the timetable now, explain that part. According to what I found on the forums, to have the autopilot work, so you can have it, autopilot or just regular, manual. You can get on them and you do it yourself. But what's the point of a freight train if it can't load itself up, right? So let's go into the timetable. Let's choose our locomotive here, and according to what the forum posters said, is that there's a bug right now. I don't know if they'll fix it in the next update, but I still don't like how the train functions really very well. So I'd rather just have my own thing over there going. But more on that later. According to what they said, is that you have to have in the timetable here you can add a new station. All at the bottom it'll add. I don't want that one there though. And to make, like it says here, to complete the changes, you have to exit the window and then come back in if you want to keep editing. So you have to have two stops of the same station or something like that for it to actually function, because there's like a workaround. There's not really like how it should legit work, right? you'd kind of expect it to just put one station and then go back to the other, and then keep going and then just like loop around kind of thing with just one station placed like this in the timetable. It actually seems to not work that way. You have to actually have two of the same one for it to work properly, because the bug, they say something that it skips over one. So to make it function properly, you have to have two of each. So here's how I have this. Let me just name the stations that I have. So the stations actually have these arrows here, and that's the way technically it goes in. So if you have one going that way, well, that means that your trains are coming out from coming from this side and going that way. And if you have it looping around, it'd loop around and then come back the same way. But to have this bi-directional train functioning, you'd have to have one that goes in in one direction and one that actually goes in the other direction. And when one docks or comes into one station, the other one has to be on its respective station. So in this case, I have um, three like parts to the train, which is one locomotive on one side facing that way, and one freight car in the middle, and then the other locomotive facing that way. So that's how that functions. If you were to have more freight cars, you would need to have more freight stations or freight platforms in between. If you would not have the freight, look, right now it's docking in and it already docked. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do the unload. It won't unload, or it did. Oh, I managed to get it to work. Okay, because the last time I tried that, it didn't function. It probably just was barely docking, so I managed to get it. So like I said, if it manages to dock in there, like the train docks, because right here, I don't know if you noticed, but it was saying docking, it's doing that. So right now it's waiting. But when it docks and then it switches over to the next train, it shouldn't do it. But anyways, it worked that time. So the next thing would be that, if you didn't have a freight car in between, then you would need to remove this and just have both train stations together facing their respective ways. Otherwise, leaving the freight platform in between with no freight car on the train chain, or whatever you want to call it, it will not work. I think it will. I think it won't work because it's kind of fiddly. It's kind of fidgety. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it'll one will stop in here, or the one coming down, it'll stop here. I don't know if it'll just slightly move over to the next one slowly and then go. Maybe it'll do that, but that's just a waste of time. So what's the point of having this in between if you're not going to be using it? But then there's a lot of constructing and deconstructing to get things to get the train to actually work the way you want, as efficiently as possible as well. So you'd have to have, okay, so let me explain this part. So like I said, one train station facing one way, one train station facing the other. As you see, they're on their respective platforms, so that's what makes it function. The stations, the timetable. So technically you'd have to have one first coming in, like if it's coming on this direction, it'll have to come in to the end. You can't have this one first, because this one's the one that goes back. So it would have to be the one that's on the end first, then have it technically come back into the station that's on this side, so it can start going that direction. And this one, from this station, it would have to go to the one that's all the way at the end, similar to how I mentioned this first part. And then that next one would have to be the platform that's the station that's coming back, which would be the one that's like on this side kind of thing, from that way to this side. And yeah, it's more or less how it'll work. So this is station S Hurt or whatever, I'll just call it like that, and that's Venray. Down there I have the tail end or something, and then the other one is what is it? I call it Edinburgh or something. Hamburg, that one. So this is a station I have all the way at the end. I'm just gonna try to do a little figure here. All the way at the end on that side. Let's say I'm just facing this way, and these are how my stations are. One's on that side, one's on this side, one's in the middle, and then one's on at the end. So to explain it more or less, it would be, this is my station all the way at the end over here. So that's where it's going now. The Hamburg is the one right next to it, which faces this way. Faces the left side. And so one will come back into this station, and then that one will come all the way down to Venray, which is the one all the way at the end. Yeah, so then it docks into there, and then to have it go back to the right side, which is to, the station, because this loops. However you have this list, it'll loop from here back to the beginning. So the S Hurt is a station that's right, like on the left middle side. So it'll come back into this one, and then it'll go down all the way and down to the end, which is repeating the list to the tail end. I don't know if I more or less explained that. It's kind of complicated. That's why I'm not liking it. It's also big. That's another reason why I'm not liking it. I did more or less like how the freight part worked. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work properly. So it seems to load up this container completely, and it'll just like one-shot it, so to speak, as it comes in. As the claw grabs the container and puts it on the freight car, it just like one-shots. I thought it was actually just gonna bring it in slowly or fill it in slowly. But I kind of sort of do like how that works, but at the same time not, because you would need to have, more containers where one takes it out and one brings it in, or conveyor lines going in and out. I think that's just a pain. So I would not want to use a train the way it is right now. I don't think it'll. The way I have my thing set up with that sky bridge over there in my hub, I wouldn't like it, because there's, I would have to just build too much. I'd try not to build too much up there either, just to keep it, for aesthetics and that kind of thing. So right now it's just going back and forth, and it's doing its thing. It's working properly, quote unquote. So it's doing what I want, going back and forth. That's what I want, how I would want it if I were to have it over there. Other thing that I read that also made me not want to have the train is that it slows down. If you have the more freight cars or more like units on it that you have, the slower it goes. So I don't like that. And then it also has something to do with, if it goes uphill like this, like in my case over here with my ramp over here, the steeper it is, the slower it goes if it has more cargo. So it has, apparently that is a thing in this, but don't take my word for it, that's something I read. It'll go slower as well, so I don't like that. I'd rather just have it constant with, as you can see here, I have conveyor belts. That one actually goes down, up into the going that direction, and this one's actually the one that's coming back. So it's kind of like having like a car, or it's like my train, but it's just on conveyor belts, without any safety included. This up here would be the conveyor resource bus hub, or bus conveyor belts, or however it should be said. And these in the middle should only go down that way. I actually plan to have six conveyor belts, 3 on each side, 3 on that side, and 3 on that side, all going that way, because it would be like my hub or my bus, kind of similar to the train, how it takes it to one side and then it will be unloading on the other, kind of like that. But train uses electricity, this does not. Electricity might not be an issue, but time and how easy things are to set up, each thing has their pros and cons. This is a hassle to deal with, but it would be faster in the end, because the railways are quick to place. The problem with this one would be maybe that it's all going down in like by singles, each item individually. It's not being transported like as a bulk in a container. But that's why this sky hub kind of thing here that I have here, sky bridge, it would be more like an end game or mid to late game kind of thing, because you would really need the fast conveyor belts at this point. Like with that milestone we have in the top right hand corner, we're almost I can do that right now if I really want to, but we're actually out of time. But you know, you'd need the faster conveyor belts with the Mark IVs. Mark IVs already at this point with long distances, it really does feel slow. Mark Fives, I don't know how good it'll be, because I think it's the Mark IVs transport 480 or something. It should say in the here. 480, it says right here. 480 resources per minute. The Mark Fives, I think I read that it should be down over here. 720 or something like that. So that's almost double. Not quite double. Wait, I'm on the wrong side. Wait, what? No, wait, this side. A milestone. So this one, oh, 780. So it's like 300 more. So it's not exactly double. It's still 400, 100 less. I don't know if you guys heard that, but my power grid just went down. Things are flashing red. I'm gonna turn off this. It was already on its way back, so I think that's why it didn't stop. Well, I'll disconnect that, and now it's back up. It should be right. There you go. All right, so that's how the train works. The Sky Hub, it's gonna have to wait for the next episode for me to explain that as well, because we're way past the time that I like to keep these episodes at. But in the next episode, I'm gonna explain that. I'm also gonna get into getting that supercomputer analysis checked. That should be the geothermal generator there. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it that I'm gonna explain. There's other stuff that I did, but I'll show that in the next episode. So for now, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Hit that like button if you liked the episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.